Welcome, everybody. Hi, it's great to see you on this Saturday. I'm Dave Stevens, and you know what? Here I am at home, but even when I'm at home, there are sometimes you have to come on and cover breaking news. So I'm very lucky today that I get to cover some breaking news. And let me tell you a little bit about the breaking news and the guest I have. He is an amazing man who has an amazing story that we're about to tell the world. His name is Termite Watkins. He's a former boxer who turned Olympic coach, not for the U.S., but for somebody who might be shocked. So let's introduce you to who Termite Watkins is, and we'll talk about this breaking news in just a second. Maurice Termite Watkins grew up in Texas, and as a kid, he worked for his family's pest control business, earning the nickname Termite. But he decided boxing might be his ticket to the big time, and as a youngster, his slick moves led to a very successful title-winning career, and after that career, another calling brought him back to the ring in an unusual way. He was asked to help the military control pests in Iraq during the war in 2003, including narrowly escaping attacks. When the base commanders thought his boxing background could help relations, he was asked to create an Iraqi boxing team, and despite the odds, Termite not only coached the Iraqi athletes, but pulled a Rocky of his own, leading one boxer to the Olympics. As Naja Ali did the unthinkable with Watkins in his corner, he won his first match in what some called a 1,000,000-to-1 shot. Now, that unbelievable story is coming to the big screen as Sylvester Stallone and Balboa Productions have agreed to tell Termite's heroic tale. Much like the Rocky franchises, one man overcoming all obstacles to leave a lasting legacy. Well, I mean, with that introduction, I got to bring in Termite. So welcome. And what an amazing day. We get to not only tell your story before a big press conference, but what a story to tell. So Termite, did you think this day would ever come?
You know, I thought it would come, but I thought it was going to come about 17 years ago, something like that. But you know what? I thank God that it's here today.
So your story, which is going to Hollywood, thanks to an old guy named Sylvester Stallone. You guys have been working together in the last few months, but what's it like to finally get this done and to be able to tell your story?
You know, I'm so honored that Balboa Productions, of course, Sylvester Stallone, but I'm going to refer to it as Balboa. I'm so blessed and so honored that they have come after me on my story, and they're making this happen. I've turned down people for literally in the area of 15 to 17 years now because people not wanting to tell this story right. And Balboa Productions is ready to tell it right and do it the right way. So thank you. Big shout out to Balboa and all the people there at Balboa.
Now, we've talked about this story, off camera and the things that we've, talked about in your life, but take us through that moment. You became a boxer, you were a successful boxer, and then suddenly you get this call to go rid the country of pests. Next thing you know, you're lacing them up for the Iraqi team in a 1,000,000-to-1 odds, and yet you pulled it off.
I am a Christian, and one time I felt like God was actually speaking to me, and that it was my time to do my part. And then, the Iraqi war, I mean, it come to my mind about helping our military rid their pests in Iraq. So I answered that call. I went to Iraq, and they found out through a series of events that I was a former professional fighter, and all the way up our chain, all the way up to President Bush, they challenged me to get Iraq to the Olympics. Now, there was some technical reasonings behind that, and which I can go into later, but they gave me the challenge, and they made it possible for me to go. And with a great team that I had in Iraq, it happened. We made it to the 2004 Olympics that were in Greece.
And what an amazing story it turned out to be. Was there apprehension, though, as you were literally teaching the enemy how to, work with the U.S., be around the guys, and they almost embraced you as a U.S. Olympic teammate, that one boxer? But I imagine, you got looks, you got, you didn't get the trust. How did you earn that?
Well, I started off. uh, this may sound kind of silly, but when they first got off the bus, when they were coming to meet me, I greet them. Over in Iraq, they greet with a kiss on each side of the cheek. I greeted them with a kiss on each side of the cheek. And that just floored them that this American would do that. And then I just got to know each one of them one at a time through our interpreter. I asked them what their goals were, what they wanted in life. And, it's pretty amazing, Dave. All they want is the same thing that we want. They want freedom. They want opportunity. They want a chance to try things. And so I made that, and when I say I want to make this clear. It was a whole team. I was blessed to be the team. It was a whole team of people that made this happen. We had U.S., we had Australian, we had Iraqis. It was a whole coalition of people.
It's so awesome that you've given us this opportunity to tell your story. And Tuesday, you got a big thing coming up where the rest of the world's going to get to know. I mean, how overwhelming is this for you that this is going to come? Eyes are going to be on you and you get to tell your story.
I'm excited. On the 16th of this month, which is next Thursday, we are having a press conference at our gym, my boxing gym, Fighter Nation, 13305 Wood Forest Boulevard, if you're in Houston, Texas. And we are having let me back up just a bit. I asked Balboa Productions if they would let me break this to the news first right here in Houston. And they said yes. And so they given me that opportunity. And the reason I wanted it in Houston is that Houston has been so good to me. They followed me ever since I was 10 years old. I'm 65 now, and they followed me all this time, and they've just been a great place to be a boxer, be a coach. And so I wanted to break it here first, and that's what they're allowing me to do.
And, you've overcome so much getting up through the ranks and surviving attacks in Iraq. But, recently you also battled COVID. And I mean, it was a really tough battle, but you came out champ. So tell us a little bit about dealing with that.
I made a business trip to Dallas, Texas, and I was around I guess, on the plane around people, and somebody had COVID, and I had to end up coming back from Dallas because my meeting was canceled. And within 24 hours, I was just feeling bad. And within, I guess, 4 or 5 days, something like that, I was in the hospital. And within a day or so after that, I believe it was, I was on the ventilator. And so I spent about 18 days on the ventilator and a total of about 30 days in the hospital. But by the grace of God, I made it. And I thank God for that. And I thank God that I have an incredible wife. My wife is named Cindy. She's a prayer warrior. And I just thank God.
So Dave Stevens here. Termite Watkins is my guest from Houston, Texas, where he will have his press conference this week to announce the start of the unnamed Termite Watkins movie to talk about what he did in Iraq. We were talking, you just come out talking about overcoming COVID. So was battling COVID the biggest fight of your life?
It was the biggest fight of my life, overcoming COVID, because I was on the ventilator. I was depending on other people. And I thank God that we had great doctors, great nurses, and I have a great praying wife. And I thank God that it wasn't my time.
Well, Termite, we talked about how an amazing life you've had. So how do you put that in a movie in 90 minutes to 2 hours? I mean, obviously you don't know who's going to play you yet, but there'll be a young you, I'm sure, a young, good-looking boxer, and then we'll, kind of chronicle your life. But what's the message, and how much of your life can we put in this thing?
Well, from what they're telling me, the writer, is that in the first 10 minutes, they're going to take me from a little kid getting in boxing all the way to on a plane going to Iraq. So that's going to be in the first 10 minutes. And then, of course, they'll tell the story, which is pretty exciting, Dave. I mean, it's there's not a dull minute in it. From being shot at, from being bombed, to making friends with Iraqis, to depending on the Iraqis for my safety. So it was a pretty exciting story, and I'm pretty excited about sharing it with everybody.
Now, I know we can't give away a lot, but there's some names being bantered out there who might play you, and it's got to be exciting to just hear some of these things. I don't know what you can share, but to see yourself on the big screen, it really has to be surreal.
Well, I can talk about uh, whose names have been presented to me, and I don't know who it's going to be yet, but we've had some names that Matthew McConaughey, Josh Allen, uh, Bradley Cooper, Mark Wahlberg. It's just to name a few, and any of them would be absolutely wonderful, and I would be honored for any of them to play me.
Yeah, I mean, you want a good looking guy up there to represent you, to show off your good looks like this, right? You've
Dave,
aged pretty well.
hey Dave, I just got it. You should play me. You said a good looking guy. You should play. Look at those hands. Now you do. You could play me.
That Yeah, they'd have to CG my legs in though, like the opposite of some special effects. But Termite, as we wrap, I know your faith has also been a big part of your life and have gotten through you some of these situations, and you've had opportunities to endorse things, and yet you still have that badge of honor with proudness. And I'm wondering, in telling your story, you're probably going to have some input as far as, no, I wasn't like that, or I didn't swear here, or those kind of things. So how do you capture your essence without ruining who you are as a human?
I had a talk with Balboa Productions, and I told them where I stand on certain things. They honored me on certain things, and on certain things, they said, for instance, I didn't really want any cussing at all. And they said, Termite, did the general cuss you? I said, yes, he did. Okay, we're going to have cussing. But where I did draw the line is that I don't want GD, God's name used in vain, and they said they would honor me on that. And then there's the F word. I asked that they would honor me on that, and they said what we'll do is we'll make this a PG-13. So I want to thank Balboa for honoring my wishes to the best that they could, and I mean they've got to say so in this since they're doing it and they're giving me the opportunity. But they've been very good to work with. They've Balboa, everybody I've worked with has been fantastic. The script writer, Adam, has been fantastic, and they've honored my wishes to the best that they could, their ability.
Well, you're like a Rocky story, and it's so great that it's finally coming to fruition. But you also continue to inspire and motivate at your gym with those kids. A lot of kids that come from bad backgrounds. I've seen it firsthand. I was able to meet with your kids and talk to them a little bit. But that seems like that's where you get your most impact, is from what you're doing in those gyms to these kids, not only teaching them boxing but teaching them life.
I'm so honored to be able to have a bunch of kids that I get to work with on a daily basis, and I get to speak life into their lives. And speaking that, man, they've never been the same since you came. They enjoyed you so much, and you were incredible with them. And thank you so much, because you spoke words of life into them, and they have not forgot you yet. And so, I am honored that I get to have a boxing club. I get to help kids that, in some cases, are very underprivileged, and some kids that don't have opportunities as other people. And we get to bless them and help them get opportunities, and we get to speak life into their lives and help them.
Well, that's just about as good as it gets. So, all right, Termite, thank you for taking some time on this early morning. Any idea how long something like this takes, and when can we see you on the big screen?
I'm going to lean, I'm going to turn my head because I'm going to talk to my wife, Cindy, which has been a rock. Cindy, what are they saying? Maybe they're going to start production next summer. And that's what their goal is. And the process is the script is either completed right now or fixing to be. And there's a couple of loose ends they're tying up. At that point, they'll send. At that point, we will tell them our first choice, and as far as actors, and then they will send the script to them, and then that actor will say yes or no. No, I don't want to be in this kind of a movie, or yes, I love it. And let's say that an actor doesn't, then we'll send it to the next actor, and so we'll find an actor, and they may not be available at the time. We've got to find an actor that is available at that time to shoot, and then an actor that likes the story, an actor that I like, because I'm not going to allow somebody that I don't agree with. And this is my story, and I want it to be told right. And so anyway, so then they'll send it off to them. We'll make script changes. They said there'll be many script changes, and then mid-year next year they'll go into the production part of it, and then it just becomes a process. And so we have started the process along with getting the script and buying my rights, and then soon we'll go into production. It's fun.
Now, I got to ask you, how much do you think Sylvester's actively going to be involved in this endeavor?
From what I understand, he's going to be very active. They gave me a list of names to consider for directors, and his name was in there. He came in as a partner with me, and which I just want to, big shout out to Sylvester. Thank you, Sylvester, for partnering up with me. But they sent me a list of names for directors, and it had his name in there, had Clint Eastwood, Peter Berg, Bradley Cooper. And so I had a bunch of, but I chose Sylvester because he's been such a big help for me on this.
Well, Termite, I'm so excited to see it. I can't wait to see you in person again and just hug you and thank you. And thank you for your friendship and for what you do and for taking this time to give us a little insight on what's coming up this week. So God bless you. Best of luck. Anything you want to leave your fans with?
Well, I want to say thank you for all you do. And thank you for being my friend. I'm so honored to call you my friend. And, I just want to tell everybody, get ready. It's coming. It's going to be exciting. And from what Balboa says, it's going to be one of the best movies you've ever seen.
All right. Well, I hope I can get there for the premiere if you can sneak me a ticket or two.
You better be here.
All right. Termite Watkins, we'll catch up with you next week. We'll show highlights of your press conference. And once again, God bless. Thank you for joining us. This is Dave Stevens with a little bit of breaking news. We'll get you next time. Stay tuned for some other things coming up later.